The New England Patriots, after a debacle of 2024, where we saw a team that was just completely incapable of playing competent football, coaching staffs that were put in well underwater with no way to even break surface. They were put in over their heads immediately. And now it all seems to be in the past, as we have had a complete turnaround of the coaching staff and all those things. But Patriots fans, I'm about to tell you why. In 2025, with these moves, you will be a playoff contender and possibly even contend for the AFC East Championship in the first year of Mike Vrabel with Drake May. And be sure to watch it all the way to the end for the last move. It is going to be the most important for this to happen. I am telling you it's the most important. Now, first off, you did the right thing. Patriots fans, your organization did the right thing. You got a coach who preaches competent football, does not tolerate mistakes, and has a history of taking a team that was subpar, with subpar talent, and elevating it to be a playoff contender with arguably a subpar roster. And he was also coach of the year. Mike Vrabel was a great pick. You couldn't have done any better. And then you go out and you get Josh McDaniels, who is honestly, regardless of how you feel about him, Patriots fans, regardless of how you feel about Josh McDaniels, he's the first competent offensive coordinator who has history, who has, experience calling plays and designing an offense since, Josh McDaniels took rookie Mac Jones and made him look like he was going to be the future of this franchise. So, your first move, without a doubt, A+. Good job. Give a round of applause right now, Patriots fans. You should be happy with everything that's been decided. As much as people want to sit here and bellyache and say, this, that, and the other, Gerard Mayo didn't get fired because he won 4 games. Gerard Mayo got fired because he won 4 games and the team looked incompetent the entire time he was the head coach. If there had been any semblance of competency and you were just outmatched by talent, that's a different story. But that wasn't the story that was told. You get Mike Vrabel, you get Josh McDaniels, it all looks put together. Now, number 2. Obviously, you have the most cap space out of any team. You're number 1, right? Nobody has more cap space than the Patriots right now. And I know everyone's sitting here thinking, we got to go out and sign all these big names. We got to go get all these guys. We got to go get, Ronnie Stanley. He's going to be our new left tackle. He's going to be great. We're going to go get all these guys. I got bad news. I don't see that happening. Free agency for what this team needs and what the splashy moves are, I'd be lying to you to get your hopes up for clicks and views on this video by saying that you're going to get all these big names. You're going to get all the top tier guys. They're all going to come to New England because you're going to pay them the most money to do so. That's not the case. You're probably going to be disappointed with the free agent haul. I think it's going to be a lot of key role players, key players that Mike Vrabel believes can fit into this system, fit into this scheme, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think that the idea is he's going to build the trenches. He's going to look at a lot of the defensive interior players, the BJ Hills that are out there, these kind of guys. Those guys may come here. But outside of that, I don't see anything happening from the Chris Godwins. I think they might kick the tires, but obviously coming off an injury, those sorts of things, they might not look at him. And he's not much different than any other wide receiver they have on this roster outside of the fact he's a little more talented. His height and weight's not much different than Kendrick Bourne or Kayshon Boutte or Javon Baker or Jalen Polk or insert name here. I mean, they're all relatively the same wide receiver. They're 1 to 2 inches of height between each other. They're all within 5 to 10 pounds of each other. And Chris Godwin fits that mold. I don't know if you win it, if he gets you really anything, especially coming off an injury. You don't know how healthy he is. Outside of that, T. Higgins would have been a great addition. I think T. Higgins was that prototypical outside wide receiver, kind of big body guy who can win the 50-50 balls, wins with physicality on the slants, can get that first down for you by getting the inside leverage on a corner because he's got the body presence to do it. Unfortunately, T. Higgins got a free franchise tag. So the free agency side of things for the Patriots, I don't see it really happening, right? It's not going to be great things. They're not going to be big names. I think they're going to be methodical. They're going to be thought out, and they're going to be precise. I don't think this is the year that that the Patriots use all $127 million. It's just not going to happen. But that's okay. Getting the right players for the right price is better than getting the best player for an overpay who may not fit a scheme. We've seen it happen before. We've seen great players go to teams that didn't fit a scheme, and they don't perform as well. Getting the right players for the scheme you want to put in and what you're looking to do, that is the most important thing. Which brings me to the most important part of this video. You have to find a way to not only protect Drake May, but also maximize Drake May. And I know everyone here, you're hoping I say a couple of names with the 4th overall pick. You're like, I'm sure right now, Abdul Carter is on people's list. People, oh, Abdul Carter would be great. Our pass rush was terrible. You're not wrong. Abdul Carter would be great. I ran 10 mock drafts. He was available in 6 of them at 4. Travis Hunter would be great. Be a great addition. Guy could play on both sides of the ball. All-star corner, really good wide receiver. We could use him. He's an all-around player, play both sides of the ball. And he is available in 6 out of the 10 drafts I ran. Will Campbell, just a good culture guy, right? Whether he's playing guard for us because his arms are too short, or he's playing tackle for us because all his measurables come in. He's that guy. And one of the other ones is Tedero McMillan. Oh, big body, 50-50 ball guys. He's T. Higgins' life. We don't get T. Higgins, we can get Tedero McMillan. You could. All those guys have a chance to be available at number 4. Flip side of the coin. Abdul Carter possibly is the best player in this draft. Arguably. Found a stress reaction in his foot, no surgery, plans to be ready to go for his pro day where he's going to kind of ball out. Not expecting any sort of impact on his draft stock. Travis Hunter, absolutely great corner. Great corner. I think he's going to be a solid top 10 corner in the league for most of his career. That's how I feel about him. Wide receiver, he's just like the rest of the guys on the team. Roughly 200 pounds, roughly 6 foot, 6'1". Fits the same mold. Does that do anything for you? Is he any different than anything you have? Not really. And if he just plays corner, if you're only drafting for how good of a corner he is, does that do anything to maximize Drake May or protect Drake May? Not really. You don't really gain anything from Travis Hunter. I'm sorry, you don't. You gain a little bit from Abdul Carter, but not really a lot. Will Campbell, honestly, is probably the best pick here, but at the same time, if he ends up being a guard, you really draft a guard number 4? I don't think so. And Tedero McMillan, his draft stock's been sliding because they're starting to look at his tape and study him a bit more and see that, he's not as proficient as a route runner as we saw. He doesn't high point the ball quite as well. His draft stock's slipping. Which is why I'm going to say the words that most Patriots fans hate to hear. Unfortunately, in this situation, it works out the best. Trade back. Trade back between, 10 to 17, somewhere in that range. I know it's a large range. Get some extra draft capital. And you're going to go get Kelvin Banks Jr. or Josh Simmons. With that, wherever you end up there. That gets your left tackle taken care of. Now, next key point. You were going to do all of that. And you were going to move into the first round again from your second round pick, because when you trade back, you're probably going to get some extra picks there. You're going to use some of that draft capital to move back up into the first round, some place between 20 and 25. And you are going to get Armand Membu out of Memphis. Armand Membu is probably the best right tackle in this draft. Pure right tackle. Guy didn't play anywhere else but right tackle. If he was a left tackle and he played the way he played, he would be probably the number 1 left tackle prospect in this draft. However, because he's a right tackle, he's like the 5th one off the board. Armand Membu and Kelvin Banks Jr. combined, all right, for 1 sack, 1 hit, 15 hurries, and 17 pressures across 1,601 total snaps. Put a stamp in it, it's done. You're done. You got your 2 tackles. Owenu moves back in at guard, and if you really want another guard, hell, go get Willie Lampkin in the 3rd round. David Andrews comes back healthy, or Strange moves to a full-time center with an offseason to really practice the craft and not just being thrust into it after coming off of an injury, and you have your backup. Offensive line, set, done, you're good. Then you have to address the fact that we didn't take a wide receiver, and we really didn't do anything with the wide receiver room in free agency. Here it is. The name I'm about to say is probably someone not on a lot of people's list, but you go out and get a guy like Savion Williams out of TCU. Now, Savion Williams has been talked about as like the Debo of TCU. The guy had 6 rushing touchdowns, 6 receiving touchdowns, and 1 passing touchdown. He's 6'5", roughly 225. They are anticipating Savion Williams to run a sub 4.5, probably sub 4.4 40-yard dash at that heightened speed. He's a freak athlete. He's a high school quarterback, can line up in the wildcat, lined up in the backfield, lined up out wide, lined up in tight, off the line of scrimmage, in the line of scrimmage, did everything, lined up everywhere for TCU. Why is he not in the first round? Why is he going somewhere in the late second, early third? Not as refined a route runner. He's a boomer bust guy. But if you take him, you can develop him. He can do those things you need him to do. He's a pure outside wide receiver. Another one, Pat Bryant, out of Illinois. He's going to go somewhere in the 5th round. Big body, physical guy, runs a little bit slower. Really good 50-50 ball guy, can high point, uses his body very, very well, and can win those sort of off-the-line matchups you want them to win. Jaden Higgins, another name. These are the guys that all fit that big-bodied, win off the line of scrimmage, win with finesse kind of guys. We did a video earlier on in the year where we were talking about Jaden Higgins going to the Reese Senior Bowl, and I said that he reminded me of a Michael Pittman Jr. Doesn't generate a lot of separation, but can really use his body to win at the catch point, to get the ball, very sure-handed guy. These are the kind of guys I think you fit into a Patriots scheme that protects the quarterback, give him some weapons, and moves on there. Another options, especially if you think you need another tight end outside of Hunter Henry, you got Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. Almost won the Triple Crown unanimously if he had just had a few more touchdowns. He had the most yards, receiving yards, most catches, and he just didn't quite get into the end zone all that much. But he almost was a Triple Crown winner of the NCAA at the tight end position. Not a blocker, more of a move tight end kind of guy. Another guy, Aronde Gadsden II out of Syracuse. They kind of tout him as a big-bodied wide receiver, but he can line up anywhere. Very, very fluid runner, runs very well. He's a tight end in my book. He kind of fits that move, sort of ex-tight end kind of guy. Once again, not a blocker, but he's a very good 50-50 ball, red zone threat. That's how you build this team, people. It's not always got to be the flashy pick. All right? It doesn't. Sometimes you just need to get the good players in the positions to do those things. And I could go into all the plethora of edge defenders you can get to improve this pass rush, but I don't need to. This is a defensive draft. There's 10 sack guys all the way out through this draft, all the way down to round 7. You can find them anywhere. They're everywhere. We don't need to talk about it. You're going to get a couple of them probably. But when it comes down to it, getting Kelvin Banks Jr., Armand Membu, maybe a Willie Lampkin, and then picking some of these 2nd and 3rd round guys, the Savion Williams, boomer bust, Pat Bryant, boomer bust, Jaden Higgins, Harold Fannin Jr., Ronnie Gadsden II. These are the players and the moves that get you high athletic, high quality talent guys who can build in a system without paying a lot of money for an aging veteran guy coming off an injury. It's not the flashy play, people. But if you want to be competitive, and you want to be atop the AFC, it's the right way.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.